There's a fire burn the fire brigade. Our souls tonight, we are losing this fight. Our souls tonight is
Hey YouTube, how's it going? This is Alpha Prime of Prime Union, part of the Prime Union family of alliances. And in this video here, I'm going to bring you an update on which bots I think are the best bots in the game, and which bots should you spend your spark on. So this is my opinion, and everyone's going to have a different one, of course. Just a little bit of background on me. If you guys don't know, I am part of Prime Union. We are #1 Autobot alliance in terms of medals, and we are a top 4 war alliance in the game. So we've done a lot of battles in Cybertron, and we've used a lot of the bots. I've had a chance to watch a lot of the best players in the world play this game. So this is my opinion, given a lot of what I've seen. And everyone's going to have different opinions, of course, so please leave a comment below if you want to add anything to what I mentioned in this video today. So basically, we're going to touch up on every single Autobot in the game. And as you know, each Autobot pretty much has a counterpart. So if I mention a bot and I don't mention the Decepticon, you can go ahead and look it up. And they have a counterpart, so you could, if you're a Decepticon, not to worry, you can watch this video and learn a little bit about the Autobots, which have the same kind of features and characteristics that a lot of the Decepticons have. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, one thing I want to mention that's very important, and part of my criteria, and again, for you guys that don't know, everything that I mentioned here is in the description below, so I'm going to write down that criteria so you guys can take it to heart. And for me, it comes down to how much spark do you guys get, and if it's a resource that you get commonly, I would say that every single bot you own should have a level 6 ability or better, because you can't get to know each bot until you get their special abilities up to a certain level. The only exception to that rule, there's only one, and that exception is to Optimus Prime. So Optimus Prime is, as we all know, he has a special ability called the Inspiring Charge. And the Inspiring Charge ability gives him the ability to get his fellow Autobots, and Megatron is his counterpart. And you can get their fellow bots to follow in the direction that, and to the base or building that you click on with his special. It only works though if that building that you rush to isn't destroyed, because if you destroy it with Optimus Prime's rush, the bots will stop following. So you want to keep that Inspiring Charge as low as possible if you plan on using Prime to help you rush a lot of bases. For me, I don't rush bases anymore, so that's why I got my power level up to 3000, just because I wanted to make it look pretty. But you really, there's no need to get Optimus Prime special that high. Okay, so for me, the criteria is this, and everyone's gonna have a different opinion, but this is my opinion. For me, it comes down to, is your bot on your top war line? If your bot is on your top war line, that's one of the criteria that is very important to deciding whether or not you want to use that spark, because you want the best results in war, right? So that's one of the criteria. A second criteria is you use that bot in an outpost. So if you plan on using a bot in an outpost, I would definitely recommend investing some spark into that bot, because you want that bot to be a very effective bot in killing your enemy, the enemies that try to attack your base. So bots that I have in my outpost are like Swoop, Saber, Hotspot, and Optimus Prime with a G1 core, which gives him 10 seconds of invincibility. This is a time trap base that I built, so the idea is I want to slow down the enemy as much as possible, and that's why I use those outpost bots in this kind of base format. And the third criteria is to use the bots for power leveling. Now, what does that all mean? Power leveling, I have more videos on that, so please go ahead and click on one of those videos in the playlists below, and you'll get a chance to watch power leveling at its best. But quickly, power leveling is just when you use a few bots in a higher zone and get more experience than deploying the whole team. Because in reality, if you were to deploy the whole team, you have to split up the experience for each bot. But if you only deploy one or two, those two bots are gonna get all that experience. So power leveling bots are like Star Saber, Skylynx. So we'll get into that a little bit more in the future. But that's my criteria. Okay, and then of course if it's a 5-star bot, that's a no-brainer. They have more health, they have more damage, and they're stronger than 4-star bots. So you want to invest your spark into your 5-star bots. Okay, so the next bot I'm going to talk about is Windblade. Windblade is a female Autobot, and she's got a really cool special. Her special is the Quick Strike, and what she does is she will target a building and she'll fly to it and fire 6 rockets at it and then land. And when she lands, she can deal 338 damage per second at my level 54. And basically, she can one-shot anything because she'll land and she'll kill it if she can't shoot it down with her special. So I recommend getting that special up as high as possible because I use her for rushing bases. So I will get her ability up so she can take down the HQ a lot faster. The next spot I want to talk about is Skyburst. Skyburst is one of the best gunners in the game because she's got a really cool special that can do a lot of damage per second. Or sorry, her damage. She can do a lot of damage per second, and she's got her offense is a spread offense, so she can damage multiple targets at the same time. And her special ability is that line barrage, so she'll deal damage in a whole line. And further away, it's not as strong. But the closer you are to a target, she can deal sick damage, up to 4,709 damage. So basically, you just have to tinker with her a little bit and figure out how to use her special. But her special is very, very strong once you get to figure it out. The next bot I want to touch up on is Drift. Drift, I got mine to level 6. I definitely want to get him a little bit higher. I started using him a bit more lately, just because I've had more time. Drift is a warrior class bot. And he's great for walk teams. He's great for rush teams. Some people put him in an outpost because he will rush in and he'll heal himself for 3,000 health. But if you put him in an outpost, he's not going to heal himself because he's going to be a fresh bot. So I probably wouldn't use him in an outpost if I were you. So that's a bot that deserves at least a level 6 ability for a 5-star. For a 4-star, I would say maybe less because he's not as strong and not as useful. Ratchet. Ratchet is interesting because he's a healer bot, and a lot of people get that grenade up high, but I don't really use that grenade all too much. So it really comes down to how much you use that healing grenade on your team. If you're finding that you're getting a lot of trouble, you use that grenade a lot, get that ability up as high as you can because Ratchet will save your team. So it really depends on your on your type of style of attack. So that's my 5 stars. We're going to get into some 4 stars, and so keep in mind that there's going to be a part 2 on the rest of the 4 stars. So please like and subscribe to my channel, and that way you'll get notification when I pop out that second video. And don't forget, for my subscribers, I do a little giveaway every time I hit a milestone. So the next milestone is 1,000 subscribers. We're well on our way. I'm going to do a little gift card draw for the subscriber that wins, and I'm gonna put that in a random draw applicator machine, and then I'm also going to give whoever gets a screenshot of me at 1,000, they're going to get subscribers. They're going to the first person that sends me a message with that, they're going to get a free Transformer mint and sealed box. So that's going to be cool. Let's go on to the 4 stars here. So typically, the ones that you can see the higher combat power are the ones that I use the most, typically, except for Laser Optimus Prime. But Star Saber is a real special bot. He's a special class bot as well, but his special ability is great. He rushes in and he uses that electrical fire and stuns bots for 6 seconds and deals a lot of damage. So I recommend getting Star Saber as high as you can because he satisfies all the requirements. He's on a war line for me, on multiple war lines actually, rushing, I use him for suicide missions, when I do walks if I need to, if there's lots of outposts that are connected together. And then I also use him for power leveling, or I used to. Mine's level 60 now, so I retired him a little bit. But he was great for power leveling. I just had to take him and one bot that was not very useful, and I could solo a zone 12 with the 2 bots. And so that is definitely one of the best bots to spend Spark on, and one of the very few bots that I have at a level 10 special ability. Because for those that don't know, special ability level 10 is going to cost 750,000 Spark. So I got the second best bot I've got is Skylinks of the 4 stars, and as you can see here, I need 750,000 Spark, which I'm getting very close to get his ability up to level 10. And I'm very tempted to do that because his damage is sick. He combines his Flame Strike and his other triple changer ability, the Plasma Shroud, and he can deal 5,500 damage per over 8 seconds with a level 9 Flame Strike at level 54. So that's just really, really, really gross. And we'll touch up on his 3-star later on in the other video as well. So I recommend getting Skylinks as high as you can because he's an HQ killer. He's not an outpost bot, but he's great for power leveling, and he's on one of my war walk lines. And again, his other special is that Plasma Shroud, so he can also lower enemy damage by 50% for 12.6 seconds. That's just, he's just overpowered. He's one of my favorite bots in the game. Definitely get him up if you get him. Get his spark, or his special ability up as high as you can. Now, my favorite warrior class bot is by far Hotspot. And the reason why I like Hotspot the most is because of that reflective shield. That reflective shield reflects 50% damage back to the attackers for 7.1 seconds. So what does that all mean? That means that if a defense is attacking you, that defense will 50% of that defense that's attacking you is going to get reflected back to that defense. So in essence, if you couldn't one-shot a mortar or a missile launcher, if you let that missile launcher attack your hotspot a little bit, it'll weaken it enough so you can one-shot it. So for me, this is a no-brainer for a player that's trying to get up to the top leagues in the game. He's a must-have bot, and I use him for a lot of situations. Outposts, because I like how much damage he can deal to enemy gunners, and he's got a lot of life. As you can see, mine has 20,000 life at level 56, and I love that my Cronus core on him because he'll heal up everybody in that area and restore their health quite significantly when you get to a higher level. Optimus Prime, 4-star, is just like the 5-star. If you don't have the 5-star, one of the best bots in the game. Keep that special ability low, though. And definitely worth investing in leveling him up as much as you can, because he leads that team into battle, and he can help you rush a lot of bases that you can't beat, because you don't have to kill every defense with Optimus Prime. The next bot we're going to touch up on is Cup. He serves the same purpose as Prime. He can get you by a lot of defenses that you don't have to kill, as long as the HQ is not well defended. My Cup is a beast at 55. He could get even stronger than that, and I love Cup. So he can take out multiple lasers, missile launchers. There could be 6 defenses basically protecting a base, and my Cup can take them all out. So I love Cup, and he's also a great bot for power leveling because I can solo bases with him and bring in a second bot for XP. And but the only thing is, I wouldn't use him in an outpost because his life is pretty low. So I wouldn't use him in an outpost. But other than that, he's really worth getting his special ability up to level 8. And one thing I forgot to touch up on Hotspot is there's a big difference between a level 6 special ability and a level 8 special ability for Hotspot. So sorry, we're just going to go back to Hotspot quickly. The reason why I got mine up to level 8 is because if you find that you encounter a Jazz or a Mixmaster in an outpost, and then you deploy that shield will last long enough to protect Hotspot from the orbital strike damage, and that could honestly kill the outpost bot as well. So that's why I got mine up to level 8, because at level 6 or level 7, it's not quite long enough to survive the orbital blast and reflect that damage back onto Mixmaster or Jazz. And Sentius Magnus has a really high combat power, as you can see, and he's one of the newer bots to the game. Love Sentius Magnus. He's a lot of fun to use. His health is decent, His siege mode is a really cool special because for 10 seconds you are protected from 50% less damage. And as you can see, mine does 7,590 damage over 10 seconds, which is pretty decent at level 51.8. I've seen some level 59 9s that can deal over 10,000 damage. So that is a pretty significant bot to get, and useful for different combinations on war lines and such. It might not be a bad outpost bot as well, because of that 10,000 damage he can deal once you get him up high enough. It really depends on how many bots you have in the game. The next bot I want to talk about is Elita 1. Elita 1 is just like Star Saber. She is a special character bot, and she has a decent amount of health, and her special ability is got the same range as Saber's, but it deals damage to a smaller group. So 1,872 damage to nearby enemies, disabling them for 6 seconds. So very similar to Saber's, a cheaper ability to use, and so you need to get used to her, but she's a lot of fun to use and great for power leveling, great for an outpost bot, great for war. She's one of those bots that fulfill all my requirements to get up to as high as you can. And as you see, I got mine to level 8, and I'm going to go higher once I get a chance to go higher. Swoop. I got my Swoop to level 57. It's not high enough. I want him higher. His fire mission is amazing because it damages 752 damage each time, up to 18 times. So let's do the math on that. Let me pull out a calculator here. 742 damage times 18 equals 13,000 damage. 13,356 damage he'll deal to enemy bots that attack your base. So that's why you gotta put him in your outpost. That's sick damage he'll deal, especially if he gets his hands on gunners. And he's great for rush lines that I use, and he's great for power leveling. He's great for everything. So I definitely recommend getting his special ability up as high as you can. I'd love to get it to 10, so I'm just waiting to get more spark for that. The next one I want to touch up on is Jetfire. Jetfire is a solid jet class, and he's got the air class. Sorry, he's got a special ability of level 9. He's the strongest. He has the strongest special ability per amount of use. So, for example, his second use only goes up by 2 ability points. So he's far more useful than, say, Skydive, because he deals a lot of damage and doesn't cost as much on the second run. So I recommend using Jetfire if you can get him. And I got his ability up to level 9 because I wanted to be able to one-shot max gold mortars. So definitely worth getting his special ability up if you're going to use him for war and to take out max defenses. But beyond war, he's no use for outposts, and for power leveling, he's not great to power level with because he doesn't have that much health, and he can only attack one building at a time. So I would use that spark, depending on how much you have it. The next bot we're going to talk about is Laser Optimus. Laser Optimus Prime is an interesting bot. He's a special class bot, and his ricochet mode is interesting. It's great for an outpost bot because that'll ricochet over to all of the attacking bots. But his usefulness for war is kind of mixed, because if there's a lot of walls, his ability will start bouncing off of walls that have no purpose. So I kind of find that such ability very expensive and hard to use, only on certain types of bases that are open without walls. So I would recommend getting his special ability above level 6 because he's just not that great of a bot. He's slow, and his health is okay. And so you can only bring so many bots into a shuttle, right, with you into war. So if you don't have a lot of bots, he's not bad, but that's my take on Laser Optimus. The next bot we're going to talk about is Jazz. Jazz is another gunner who's one of the best gunners in the game. His orbital strike is sick. He's able to take out multiple defenses in an area. So I recommend getting that special ability up as high as you can, because the higher the special ability, the more damage he can deal to a group of defenses. So, yeah, as you can see here, mine's 56.9, which is not good enough. I need to get him to the level of 57.9 minimum to one-shot lasers and some missile launchers. But if I can get more spark, I'd love to get my hands on that and get him up to over 4,000 damage per second or damage to targets. And let's get to Springer now. Springer is a triple changer, one of the first triple changers to the game. He's got an interesting special because he's one of those bots that can assist other bots that are far away. He can fly to them and heal them up. So I don't think you need to get a special up too high, because if I was to upgrade it some more, that's 60 more health. And he's got this weird defensive perimeter. I think it's good for attracting defenses. So for example, say you have Cup at the top taking a lot of fire, you can pop on that defensive perimeter and you'll attract the enemy defenses. It won't do a lot of damage. I wish it had stun ability or something, because I just find it pretty underwhelming, that damage. Like, it could probably take out a research lab. That's about all he can take out with one shot. So at my level at 6, I don't find there any use to go any higher unless you have tons of spark to spend. And of course, a 5-star is a different story. All right, so let's check out this. We're at 20 minutes already. We're getting up there in time. I'm going to go through maybe one more line of Transformers, and then we'll end this video here. So I really appreciate you guys for sticking around, and let's get on with Pipes. Now, Pipes is another warrior class bot. He's got similar characteristic to Jumpstream and to Hotspot, but he's got a different kind of shield. The shield is blocks 80% damage for 7.5 seconds. And then he also attracts other defenses, which is really, really good. So very, very useful ability, especially when you're doing a walk, because he'll attract defenses and protect the rest of your team. But it's only for 7.5 seconds. So you've got to make sure you've got ample offense behind him to back up Pipes in battle. So his ability at level 6 is really, really good. If I were to get it up to level 7, it only gives me 0.3 more. So you really need to go up a few more levels in order to see a bigger advantage. So, of course, it's all really, really expensive. So I would get his special ability to level 6 minimum. And if you're using him for war lines and for your outposts and stuff like that, I would get that higher. Skyburst, again, 4-star Skyburst is very, very good. One of the best gunners of the 4-star class. Get that special ability up and and use her as much as you can to get her attack higher and level that bot up. Wheeljack is another healer now that we have in the game. His special is to speed up the other bots on your team. So if you're using that special a lot, I would recommend getting it up higher to at least level 6 or more. So you can see there, you get a speed bonus of 64, and I think it's another 4 if I go it up to level 8. So that's a significant bonus. Like the bots speed up quite a bit. So if you're finding you're running out of time on a time trap, use that ability. And I also put Alpha Trion's core on him because when I use 2 healers in battle, they pretty much protects my whole team because they're at a high level. I don't need to put a healing core on Wheeljack, and I give him an Alpha Trion ability so that I get more special ability points for rushes and stuff like that. Because if I have 35 points and I'm going into a rush with Optimus Prime and the team, no HQ stands a chance, even a max one against my squad. So the next spot we're going to talk about is Blaster. Blaster I haven't done a lot to. He's got a fun ability that minions. He's great in an outpost. And as you can see here, I got mine to level 6. I should get it higher because if you get it up to 10, those minions of his won't die. And they're very, very useful for your outposts and stuff like that. But for me, I'm a bit of a snob. If I was to get a 5-star Blaster, I would go all out. And then I replace one of my outpost bots with Blaster and get him up as high as possible. But I don't. I have a 4-star, and it's at level 52, which is decent. And he's a lot of fun to use, as I was saying. He's good for war lines because he survives a long time because of those minions that protect him and deal a lot of damage. So I would recommend getting that ability up as high as you can. The next bot we're going to talk about is Slug or Slag. He's a Dinobot, and he's a warrior class bot with an interesting special. His special is the Fire Rush, and the Fire Rush deals 1254 damage at level 53, and you don't really need to get it up any higher, in my opinion. You can get, it's pretty significant boost there, as you can see, but it's not his main purpose in life. His main purpose is to absorb a little bit of damage, and as you can see him, he doesn't have a lot of health compared to the other warrior class bots, but he has got a pretty strong damage per second. So I just turn that fire on and rush to the HQ and burn everything in its path. So level 6 minimum for me. I would get that up higher if I were to use Slug more, but I just don't use him on my primary war line anymore. He's just on a zone 13 like metal grinding line. And let's end this video with 4-star Ratchet. Now he's just the same as the 5-star pretty much. And I would get his ability up to level 6. As you can see there, mine deals 1900 health to all Autobots in a large area over 5 seconds. And to get it up any higher, it's going to give me another 80 point boost almost, which is good, but not really worth that much that investment, because 70 healing points is not gonna be a deal breaker for me. So I wouldn't get that above any level 6 unless you have tons of spark to spend. Okay, well that's it for this video. I really appreciate you sticking around. This is a long one. And the next video, stay tuned for that. It's going to be on the rest of my 4-star bots. So I'll just give you a quick look at what I've got. So I basically have everything in the game, except for a few of the 4-star bots. I have most of the 3-star bots as well. So we're going to touch up on the best 3-star bots in the game, and those 4-star bots, and we're going to touch up on the ones that I'm missing as well. So as you can see here, I'm missing 4-star Inferno, Gnaw, Tigerhawk, and Trax. So stay tuned for that video. It's going to be coming out real soon once I finish editing this one. So I'll let you know. Just have to subscribe and hit that bell to get notifications. Okay, well that's it for this video. Please leave me a comment below if you wanted to chat, or if you have any comments to convey about any of the bots I talked about. I would really appreciate your feedback. All right, that's it for now. This is Alpha Prime of Prime Union. Thanks for watching. Peace out.